Well, after heading into the holiday season on a hopeful note, Omicron, it's causing just a real shift in plans. To talk about the importance of not giving up that hope, we are joined this morning by the President and CEO of Imagine Canada, Bruce MacDonald. Bruce, yes, that hope. We all feel it. It was looking good, and then it's kind of taken away from us. Why is hope so important, Bruce?
Well, certainly at this time of year, almost 2 years into a pandemic, keeping that spirit of hope and optimism is alive. And certainly for those in the charitable sector, it's also a critical time because we know that about 60% of individual donations come in the last 8 weeks of the year. And in Canada, it truly is the season of giving. So connecting these ideas of hope and optimism to generosity are super important.
Okay, Imagine Canada. What is it?
Well, we're a national organization. We're a national registered charity, and what we seek to do is improve the operating environment in which charities, nonprofits, and social enterprises function so that they can provide better services for people in their communities.
So you have a background, you used to be the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Canada.
Yeah.
I'm sure you learned a lot about running an organization and a charitable organization through that. What are charitable organizations going through right now through this pandemic in the past 2 years?
Well, the first thing they've seen really since the start of the pandemic has been an unabated increase in the demand for services. Now, 1 in 2 charities in Canada report that more Canadians are coming to them for services than ever before. At the same time, they've been dealing with a decrease or a reduction in supply of resources. Donations are down. About half of organizations are reporting that their donations and revenues are down, and that is down on average 44%. So it's pretty significant for organizations who are trying desperately to respond to increased need with fewer resources with which to do it.
What does it do for somebody? Do you guys look into this? Like what somebody donating, what that can do for obviously who they're donating to, but what that can do for them?
Yeah, well, we went out and surveyed Canadians in conjunction with our colleagues at Mental Health Research Canada. And one of the interesting things that we found was about 2/3 of respondents indicated that giving both of financial contributions in terms of money and volunteering their time fueled their own personal sense of joy and optimism. And the fact about 83% of people in Ontario indicated that the hardships caused by the pandemic have given them a renewed or increased appreciation of generosity. So people are really understanding that they've needed services themselves, their family members, and that it's important to make sure that those services are there.
How do you know what to give to?
Well, what I always say is start with your passion. There are so many great causes and organizations in the Hamilton area that are serving the people of the greater Hamilton area that, just really speak to those causes that are most inspiring to you. Maybe ones that you yourself have benefited from or seen a family member come into contact with or a work colleague or friend. And those are the ones I think that you really start with because they have the most individual connection to you.
Where are we at with obviously a growing demand? There's need for money across all facets from the federal government. How is the federal government doing with charities across in our region and even across the country?
Well, we've been really pleased that during most of the pandemic, charities and nonprofits have been included in many of the major support programs. Of particular importance has been the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy, but that has now come to an end. And so we are a bit concerned that heading into 2022, that it may be another period of significant distress or disruption for charities and nonprofits, which is why the season of giving is so important to be able to start that year. But we're continuing our work with the federal government to ensure that they're there to support these organizations, because if not, there is a chance these services will be suspended or have to disappear.
We only got 30 seconds left. I like talking to you. You have a very hopeful voice, a very positive voice. Why did you get into this, and why have you stuck with it through your career?
Well, it's interesting. I was first introduced to volunteering and giving through my parents, who volunteered with a local charity in the Hamilton area because I grew up in this area. And it's just stayed with me right through my life. And I think one of the things I've had the privilege in my jobs, and certainly in this job, I get a chance to talk to leaders across the country.
I don't want to cut you off. I don't want to cut you off, but I got to cut you off. Oh,
no
thank
problem.
you so much. Stay hopeful. Thank you, Bruce.
Have a great day.
Thank you, buddy.